Hello, my little ghouls and goblins. It's me, Heather, the teeny tiny storyteller from Goldstone Books. Well, as it's nearly Halloween, I thought it would be fun to tell you one of my favorite scary, but also quite silly stories. It's called The Teeny Tiny Woman, and I thought it would be fun to tell it with paper cut animation. And so I got some colored card and some scissors, and I have made a stop motion film. I hope you'll enjoy it. Are you ready? Are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then let's begin. The Teeny Tiny Woman, a traditional folk tale. Once upon a time, there was a teeny tiny woman who lived in a teeny tiny house in a teeny tiny town. Now one day, this teeny tiny woman put on her teeny tiny hat and went out of her teeny tiny house to take a teeny tiny walk. And when she had gone a teeny tiny way, she came to a teeny tiny fence with a teeny tiny gate. And the teeny tiny woman opened the teeny tiny gate, which made a teeny tiny creak. And she went for a walk in the teeny tiny woods. At the far end of the woods was a teeny tiny church, and next to the teeny tiny church was a teeny tiny graveyard. It was here that the teeny tiny woman saw a teeny tiny bone on a teeny tiny grave, and the teeny tiny woman said to her teeny tiny self, "This teeny tiny bone will make some teeny tiny soup for my teeny tiny supper." So the teeny tiny woman put the teeny tiny bone in her teeny tiny pocket and went home to her teeny tiny house. Now, when the teeny tiny woman got to her teeny tiny house, she was a teeny tiny bit tired. So she went up her teeny tiny stairs to her teeny tiny bedroom. The teeny tiny woman put the teeny tiny bone in her teeny tiny wardrobe. Then she crawled into her teeny tiny bed to take a teeny tiny nap. And when the teeny tiny woman had been asleep for just a teeny tiny time, she was awakened by a teeny tiny voice from the teeny tiny wardrobe, which said, "Give me my bone." Well, hearing that, the teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit frightened, and she said to herself, "I must have had a teeny tiny bad dream." So she pulled the blanket up a teeny tiny bit higher and tried to go back to sleep. But as soon as she closed her eyes, the teeny tiny voice cried out again from the wardrobe, and this time it was a teeny tiny bit louder. "Give me my bone." This made the teeny tiny woman a teeny tiny bit more frightened, because now she knew it was not a teeny tiny dream. So she pulled up the blanket a teeny tiny bit more and closed her eyes. The teeny tiny wardrobe began to bang and clang and make more than a teeny tiny bit of noise. The teeny tiny woman was so frightened that she pulled the blanket over her teeny tiny eyes. But the teeny tiny voice, which was no longer teeny tiny, called out, "Give me my bone." And now the teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit terrified. So she pulled down the blanket and said in her loudest teeny tiny voice, "Take the bone!" And then she hid in the teeny tiny bed until morning. And the moral of that story is, don't take things that don't belong to you, but also never, ever eat something you found in a graveyard. Isn't that right? Happy Halloween, everyone, from me and Yorick. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye!